How far did Google go? How active was Google in tracking down these images and leading law enforcement to this person?
Well, thanks, and good morning, and thank you for giving me a chance to discuss this really a key issue. It's hard to say exactly what Google has done, but Google is not alone. Many of the technology leaders, including Microsoft and others, have really created some very key technologies that provide this scanning of images. And in many ways, I think it's a very good thing. It's protecting users, and clearly in this case, it's helping comply with law and the requirements of detecting child pornography.
So then how active would you say all of these companies are in actually tracking it down? Reporting it is one thing, but then going through emails is another thing. Of course, it's hard to argue that identifying child pornography is a bad thing. I guess users just have a question of how far are these tech companies looking into my email?
Well, I can tell you from my past experience at Microsoft and being involved in similar technologies, first of all, it's not like someone is sitting and looking for those images. There's algorithms and such that are very sophisticated that have this ability to identify images such as this. And then there's a process where, again, it gets escalated internally for verification. I think a bigger issue is that consumers need to understand what the terms of use are on using these technologies, and also at the same time balancing that out of what the legal requirements and also perhaps the societal requirements of service providers have today.
Right. I guess the question is, where do you draw the line? If child porn or looking for these kinds of images is allowed, what's the next frontier?
Yeah, well, this is a key issue. I've been recently involved in facial recognition workshops with the Department of Commerce, and it is this balance of data collection and data mining, and for what purposes? Fraud detection, security purposes, surveillance purposes, that are major issues that are going way beyond email as more and more devices have image capabilities, image capture capabilities. So,
now,
go ahead.
Well, this particular case has gotten a lot of attention. I wonder, how often is this happening? You would think that everyone out there is using these services. Does this happen a lot more often than we know?
Well, it's hard to say. I do think there's also this risk of false positives. Let's just say there's a scenario that a newborn child and a father's holding up a photograph of his infant baby that, is that child pornography. Clearly, no one would think that. So we need to make sure that there's clearly the cases of innocent images are not perceived and such, and what is, and the false positives and impact that can happen from that. But again, as I understand, this technology is by multiple service providers. As I mentioned, I'm aware of Microsoft has other technologies that actually they have discussed openly that help detect this capability. So I would suggest that it's going on an ongoing basis. It's not just a random evaluation. Those images, as they're being loaded, are being analyzed. And in a case where they're in suspect, they're being then on an exception basis being evaluated further.